Hey guys, today we'll be looking at the Smartwatch with fitness activity tracking functionality. Okay, so we've got a couple of colors here, red, black. As always, the laser product code can be found on the barcode, VF-SMTACT. And depending on your device, you'll have a BLK or a RED product code. Okay, so pretty simple. It's just an activity monitor with some smartwatch functionality, like checking your messages, playing music, that sort of thing. Okay, so on the back here you can see a whole range of features that you can find on the device. Okay, so we're just going to have a look at what's inside the box and give you some general tips on setting it up and getting started. Okay. So I'll just put that there, and let's have a look. We've got the device itself, the activity monitor or the watch head. We've got a manual, pretty detailed manual. We'll pretty much talk you through most of the functions that we're going to cover in the video. So make sure to have a read of that. Okay, you'll get the strap, the watch strap. Okay, and a USB charger. Okay, now this end of the USB, now the USB end will need to go into a power source of some kind. Okay, so most smartphones will come with a USB power adapter, so this is not included in the box. Okay, so please make sure you've got one handy. If not, you can use something like a laptop or a computer port, even though the charging will not be as fast. You will still be able to get some power to the device. So charging time on one of these power adapter style devices will be approximately 3 hours. You can double that if you're charging from a computer or another source. Okay, and the battery life on the device is approximately 1 week, so 3 hours charging time for about a week's life of battery is excellent. Okay, and that's it. That's all you get in the box. Not that. So make sure you've got one handy or purchase one separately. Okay, so we're going to look at the app and getting the device set up on the app. So let's see, we've got a smartphone here. Okay, so first things first, let's install the app. Okay, so the actual app is called Very Fit Pro. Okay, so you just want to search for that on your Google Play Store or the App Store on iPhone. Okay, so as you can see, that's a little icon there. Let's just go ahead and install that. Okay, now while that's installing, we can have a look at the standard way we'd be setting this device up and charging it. Okay, so we want to keep this a little bit on this part of the band. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and, I mean, you can really wear this how you like, with this band at the top or at the bottom. It's really up to you. Okay, I personally prefer to have it with this part on the top. Okay, so you just want to pull this pin back so that you're able to get the pin into the slot here. Okay, there's a nice little snap. Okay, that clicks into place. Okay, and just do the same for the bottom. Okay, so that's snapped into place. Okay, so let's look at getting the device charging first of all. So we'll plug in our USB power adapter there. And plug the USB adapter into that. Now you want to line up these pins at the top there with the pins on the adapter. Okay, now you hear a nice click and you'll get an indicator clocks to when the device has started to charge. Okay, so it's pretty simple. You can just snap it out of its cradle. Okay, so the device itself, you have a look at the main functions there. So just tap and hold screen. Okay, now you'll be able to select from a few different themes or display types. Okay, so this is the standard or default one. Now from the main screen, if you swipe up, you can see any notifications that you would have received. Emails, phone calls, text messages, that sort of thing. If you swipe down, you can see your steps, your distance traveled, calories burnt. Okay, and then a summary of all of that. Okay, from the main screen, if you swipe left, you'll have the ability to turn off some functions very quickly. So your heart rate monitor, you can tap that to turn it off. The wrist sense, you can tap that. Do not disturb mode, etc. And you can also turn them back on. Okay, so over to the right, we've got some popular functions that you'll be using. So check your heart rate. Okay, so the button on the right acts as a back button, so tapping that will go back one. Okay, so some activity monitoring, so your run or your walk. Now you can also access this function just by pressing and holding the button on the left, which you probably need to do from the main screen. So let me just go back. Okay, so from the main screen, we press and hold the button on the left, and that will give us, okay, so we can see here that's gone into activity tracking shortcut. Okay, so if you want to pause your activity tracking, just tap the button on the right. Okay, to unpause, tap it again. Okay, to cancel, press and hold. This is just saying there's not enough data to keep this information, so we're just going to delete it, which is fine. Okay, so from here you can also have a couple of other options if you swipe up. So you've got a music controller, timer, settings. So in the settings mode, you can see here, you can change the screen as I was showing you before to another type. Okay, and you can also change the brightness of the screen. Okay, now that button on the left, long pressing that will actually give you that quick run option that it had selected before. Now if you want, you can actually change that button to bring up whichever activity you like. So if you're doing one of these other exercises more frequently, you'd probably want to put that as the hotkey on the left there. So see, and there's your little method of activating it. So if you're doing climbing, okay, so we want to go back to the main screen, press and hold that button on the left, and that'll go into mode where it's tracking that type of activity a little bit more accurately. So best to use the correct categories for tracking your activities, because obviously running will give the watch different data to say something like cycling or climbing. Okay, so that's pretty much it on the watch itself. Okay, so now let's look at the app and some of the functionality of the app. So most of your functions will be done via the app. Okay, so go back to the home screen, home page. Okay, so you can see your activity, your sleep, and your heart rate. Okay, now details will just give you a graph of those activities, etc. The device, okay, so from here you can set up call alerts, sedentary alerts. So that's ones if you're sitting still for too long. That one's getting notifications on the smartwatch of any calls that are coming through on your smartphone. SNS alert, you can set up what types of notifications you want to get. So when you swipe down, sorry, from the main screen, this is where all your alerts for these functions will appear. Okay, so if you get an SMS, you can actually check it on here. You will be able to see the whole text here, but you won't be able to reply or do anything. You'll literally just be able to read the text and just put away the notification. The text will actually stay on the phone. So I'll just show you a demo of that. Okay, so we've received a text message there, and on the watch itself we can swipe down and we can see here's the text message that we've received. We can delete that, okay, or your notification, clear that, but the notification remains on the phone. So if I just go to the messages, okay, so I can see that message is still there, just the notification's been removed from the smartwatch. Okay, so we just go back into the app. Okay, so back to device. So that's SNS alert. Okay, sedentary alert, as I was saying before, is if you're sitting still for too long. So if you're in an office environment and you need to get up and exercise at frequent intervals, that'll be a good functionality there. Okay, music control, you can play music from the app itself, so let's do that. Okay, so let's go across and down to music controller. Now, see, so what I've done is I've linked that app to Google Music. Okay, so Google Music Player, so when I'll press play, it basically played the last thing that I was playing on the Google Music Player there. Okay, so you'll be able to choose which app you want to control the music from depending on what you've got installed. Okay, so a couple of other functions there, pretty self-explanatory. Some of these options we were looking at earlier, being able to quickly turn them on and off. Okay, from here, it's exactly the same here. Okay, and then finally, on this particular one, you can see the date of the firmware and the version, along with unbinding the watch. So unbinding is removing it from this app or this account. Okay, so if you're giving it to someone or you want to stop using it, you'd unbind it. Okay, and then lastly, we've got user. So recommend you set up a profile for yourself. Okay, you can set yourself some targets there, personal information, you give yourself a name, birth date, etc. Now, based on this information, it can affect your target rates and exercise routines. So, you know, putting the most accurate information here does give you better readings for your for the data that the watch will be recording. Okay, so system settings, we can set up the unit type. So if you want to see centimeters, kilometers, kilos, etc., you want to set your the type of unit measurement that you prefer to see. Okay, now that's pretty much it for system settings. Okay, lastly, on the main screen, to refresh the data, so if you're finding that the steps on here not lining up with the steps on the app, just refresh by tapping, swiping down, and you'll see this little refresh icon appear. Okay, and that's pretty much it, guys. If you want to share your data with someone, you're proud of your daily workout or something, you just tap that little share icon in the top there and you can send it to whatever social media platform you like. Alright guys, so that pretty much concludes the tutorial, so check it out and we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks.